Okay, we're back for video number 2 in our color and contour stamp class. We'll wait just a minute for people to be able to find it in their news feeds, and then we'll get started with our next project. I hope y'all love this bundle as much as I do. It's really fun to work with. Once I got going, it was hard to stop creating. Find it, Dee? Got it? Okay. Wait just a minute. So I've got some samples to share with you first. Everything look good?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Cassandra's here. Yay. LD was looking for you. So we've got this or that in a little while, and I'll tell you something, Cassandra. LaDonna has to go with her dad to eat lunch with some family members, so she was wanting to put her votes in ahead of time. That seems like some fraudulent voting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's look at some samples with this awesome color and contour bundle. We're going to start with this one. So, do I still have the stamp set over here? I do. So you can see that this little image here is the focal point on this card. And this is made with fresh freesia. This is a swap that I received. Really, really cute. I love using the black matte dots. Those are such an awesome accent. And then here is another one with that same image. Now, you do have a stamp that is a filler stamp to color in the flowers. But what I did on my projects that I used this image, and you'll see it later, I used a Stampin' Blend marker, I think in Soft Succulent, just to fill in the leaves a tiny bit. There's not anything to fill in the leaves for you, but you could again use your blender pen, Stampin' Blends.
Mary's back.
Hi, Mary. Here's another one with that same image. I like the positioning of this one. And also, this sentiment says, here for you now. And then the rest of it, you'll see it later too. And it says something about like in here in better days as well. So on this one, this is a swap that I received. They just masked off the now. So here for you. That's a beautiful card. That would make a very nice sympathy card. Just a card of encouragement and support. This one uses that border die on a piece of designer series paper. So that just really gives it a little bit more accent. Very cute. And these sentiments, y'all, they're awesome. Now, I don't know if you'll remember, but you did see this card back at the launch party. This was also a swap that I received way back. I really looked closely at these little gems in the middle. Those were colored with a Stampin' Blend, so don't forget that you can use your alcohol marker like on rhinestones and pearls. So if you don't have an embellishment that coordinates with the colors that you're using, you can always color with your Stampin' Blends. Just be careful. You want to go gently. You don't want to mess up the tip of your marker, but you can do that. Also, I love how this one layers those frames that cut with the dies. These are awesome, awesome dies, you guys. So even if you don't need another floral set, I highly recommend the dies. And then the inside of this card is really cute too. That amazing stamp. And then one last swap to share. Again, using that border die. That's just so pretty. And you can put a piece of designer series paper under there. You don't have to. It just gives it a little accent. In our catalog, you've got samples up above the stamp and die on page 98, but you can also go back to where the bundles are featured, and there's an extra sample back there. It's not seen anywhere else in the catalog. This one is actually patterned after that sample, but it's really cute too. So using the line image and then also that filler stamp on these bigger flowers. Okay. So let me show you the project we'll be working on next. Another black and white with a little pop of color. And I do have some designer series paper under this large frame, and I'm going to let you guys decide if we'll use that on our card we recreate, but I'll show you the little trick we did with this border as well. So I hope you like this card. I really love using black and white with a pop of color. Okay, we've got a basic black card base. It's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Then the inside panel, you know I like to use a light inside panel. We have to with the black, but I always like to do that in my cards. It gives it that finishing touch, and then also makes it easier to write your message and for the recipient to read it.
Well, Donna says hello.
Hello, LD. Cassandra's here. Okay, garnish that fold. And then I'll let you guys decide. Let me bring this in. I think it looks just fine to use this big frame, and I love the fact, do you have that die, Dale? That's the largest of these frames. So isn't that cool that it fits on the front of your card and just leaves a little bit of a border? So that's the largest one. So tell me if you want a piece of designer series paper and then the frame, or if you just want that frame on that black card base. Do we want DSP or no DSP? And while you decide that, I'm going to start doing some stamping. What do you think, Dale?
Well, I'm all for the DSP.
You are? So we're going to, we're going to first start with our sentiment, I believe. Let me find that stamp right quick. Thank you.
Donna says DSP and frame.
Okay. One vote.
I'm not sure if Cassandra was saying when she says love black and white cards.
No, I do too. So this sentiment is pretty. It says thank you for everything. And we're going to bring it down towards the bottom on our frame. See if I can get it straight with all this equipment up above me. Pretty good. This font is a little bit forgiving as well, so that always helps because of how scripty it is. And now I'm going to bring that little splatter stamp back in and put a couple of splatters as well. I love this little stamp. I just feel so artsy.
Cassandra says add DSP.
Okay, so 2 votes for DSP.
Yep. If Mary's still watching and would like to weigh in.
Okay. I'll give that to you, Dale, so I don't have an accident here. Get that out of the way. And so we've got that background stamped, and it's looking like we're going to be putting it on DSP. Now, let me bring
Says DSP and
DSP.
frame.
Okay, that's what we're going to go with. So I'm just bringing in a little scrap here that I'm going to use to stamp off. And I've got polished pink. This is one of our beautiful new in colors. I love it. So I'm going to ink up that filler image. I'm going to stamp it off, and then I'm going to stamp it here. And I'm going to do that a couple of times. And I actually found that stamping off and doing the filler image first worked best for me. I struggled a little bit to get this lined up. Now you could certainly use your Stamparatus and get it. Yes, Dale's preferred method. Get it all lined up. So that's how I did it. I kind of cheated just a little bit because like there, I did not get that perfect. The other thing is once you cut them out, they look a lot better. I'm just going super fast, y'all, because I know we're cutting them out, and I know that it does work, but it just gives them a little bit of color. I'll give you that as well, Dee. And I think we're done with our stamping, aren't we? So just gives it a little bit of color to fill in those flowers. Now again, you could color them with some other method if you choose. So by the magic of video, our flowers are already die cut. And let me bring this one in to show you. Dale was saying, of course, he die cut these for me. He's so nice to do that. There is a little notch up here. Whoop, I've got it upside down, don't I? There's a little notch up here, and then one of these petals is kind of squared off, so he was able to get that lined up pretty easily. So that does have a die, Cassandra. You don't have to fussy cut. That's always good news, isn't it? So I think we're ready to assemble. I'm trying to think. Yes, I did pop that up. Of course I did. So we'll go ahead and put down our designer series paper. I've already used these dies quite a bit. And I think it actually was LaDonna that I saw use them first. It's funny how you're drawn to different things and how easy it is to overlook things. Of course, our catalog has been pared down a little bit, but there's still a lot to take in, especially when it's a new catalog. Now, we also use that large die on just a little scrap of designer series paper, and that is how we got this border. I just thought that added a little bit of extra interest for the eye, a little bit of fun to have that stripe on there. So I'm going to put just a little bit of liquid glue along there. And then it's super easy to line up on our frame. Kind of went back and forth. I really wanted to use the striped paper with this, and I just couldn't decide how I liked it, but that made me happy. I think I actually even like it better with this designer series paper. This is my favorite in that pack. So of course we're going to bring in some dimensionals and pop this up.
My shocked face.
Oh, Dale has his shocked face, he said. You're shocked that we're using dimensionals? Nah. We love dimensionals. I remember when we first all started crafting together, and LaDonna would say, "Did you pop that up?" And I would be like, "Yeah, of course. When in doubt, you pop it up." How did I take your pick tool out? Yes. So let's get some of these backings off. Let me know what you think of this card. It doesn't look like one that I would normally create. It doesn't to me. A little bit edgy, a little bit artsy, and I had a lot of fun designing with this bundle. Any comments, Dane?
No, it's like my comments are frozen.
Uh-oh. They're kind of quiet today anyway, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Just lined up here. I think that's pretty good. And then we're ready to add our flowers. So this is coming together very quickly. This one's a little bit darker, so I think I'm going to put it in the center. And then put those other two, kind of like I did on my other card. Now you could certainly add more embellishments if you wanted to. We're just going to keep it simple and add some black matte dots. Okay, we'll put this first guy probably right about there. I really love polished pink. It makes me happy. Now, I watched a demonstration. I think a lot of y'all know I did a training last weekend, and I saw some demonstrators, and I cannot remember their name, Kayla and Helene, from the Netherlands, and they actually took glue dots a couple of different times. They would put 2 or 3 glue dots to help give a little bit more lift, but not as much as a dimensional. So that's what we're doing with our second flower. And I don't know how well it will show up on camera, but in person it really does give a little bit different dimension to that than using a dimensional. So it kind of gives you 3 different levels of dimension. And that one right about there. Something else that I saw them do, and I have never seen this before, is they would put their dimensionals on their piece that they were going to pop up. They used the designer series paper a lot with dimensionals, which is something I don't normally do, so I thought that was really cool. Then they would come in with their Tombow liquid glue, and on the back of the dimensionals, once they removed the backing, they would put just a tiny dot of liquid glue. So y'all know I love my liquid glue because it lets you kind of wiggle your paper, get it in position. So that's what they were saying. It gives you the liquid glue flexibility, but also the dimension. So I've never seen that before. I thought that was a really cool tip. And I haven't tried it yet, but I need to. Let's bring some black matte dots in. I love these so much. I think everybody needs to have some of these in their craft stash because they're just awesome. Couple different sizes, really versatile. Now you could certainly put rhinestones here if you wanted to. That would be really pretty too. But we're just going to finish this little card off with those black matte dots. So I'll bring that a little bit closer so you can see it. I just love it. Thought it turned out really, really cute. So y'all let us know what you think. So that is card number 2 for you. We've got one more demonstration, and we've got this or that. We will be back at 11. But before I go, I want to tell you about our exciting announcement. We have been doing Paper Pumpkin Club in person for last month and this month, and everything went really well. So we are planning to go ahead and start doing our stamp class again in person. So those that live close to us, we're going to go back to our in-person stamp class. Now this past, 14, 15 months, we've been doing videos, and at first we started out with different groups for the classes, and then I moved it to this group to kind of keep it a little bit more organized. But I will continue to do some videos for stamp class each month in this group because I've got a lot of friends here that don't live close to me that can't come to class. So I'm not going to forget about you. We're still going to do things. I'm still going to show you the projects each month, but it'll probably just be a pre-recorded video. But I still want to include you. But I'm very, very excited that we are going to start doing our stamp class again in person. And then we also have a stamp camp towards the end of July, and that will be in person as well. I'm going to work really hard to offer any classes and events that I do in person also to go. So that'll be something new that we're going to try, but I want to do that so that I can include everyone that has been so kind and supportive to us over this past 14, 15 months. It's been hard, you guys, but we have found ways to stay connected and stay crafting, and I want to continue to do that with you. So I'll be letting you know a little bit more information soon. Okay, we will be back at 11, and we'll have another project for you, and then we'll play this or that.